So it's been pretty tough to be a Halo fan for a while now, actually. Like, Halo 5 wasn't great. Halo Infinite has been a massive struggle since it was supposed to release, then it got delayed, then it released, and then things keep getting delayed. And now here we are where we're to the point where, like, 343 as a studio is being questioned because of all these things they're doing when it comes to the roadmap and live service stuff around Halo Infinite. And it hasn't been getting any better. They released an updated roadmap today, and it's not looking great. And in fact, there's even a feature that they had been advertising ahead of the game's release that really got people excited that they have just outright canceled now, too. So we'll go over this here today. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if new to the Spawnwave Plus channel, make sure you subscribe down below. This is the roadmap that they released. They also did like a 30-minute video interview with like Joseph Staten, kind of going over the updates that they have set up, running until June 27th at least is the plan. So effectively, like the next 10 months, right, is what they're really looking at here. And I mean, right away, Season 3 doesn't start until March 7th. They're doing a winter update, which I'm kind of viewing this as like a mini season or like a halfway point, something just to update this current season, because obviously Season 3 is just not going to be ready. And I mean, you can see November 8th is when that starts. By the way, Season 2 that we're in right now, that started like the first week of May, which means Season 2 is going to last 10 months. Like, they were supposed to be getting these down to 3-month seasons, which would have been more manageable, because then you have 3 months. Each month you can do another extra event in there, and it doesn't feel like it's almost a year of just nothing happening in the game. That's the biggest criticism right now for Halo Infinite, is just it lacks content. There are points like right now where I'm playing Halo Infinite. I log in, I'll go through some of the challenges, and I'll realize, my battle pass is completely maxed out. Both of them are level 100. The ultimate that they have that week isn't interesting at all. It might be a backdrop for my name or something. And if I go through the ranked mode, I typically want to play with people I know, because you're trying to, of course, win and move up to Onyx. And the first time I got Onyx, they gave me like a little keychain thing for my pistol, and that was cool. But if I can't get other people interested to jump back on Halo Infinite, I'm not going to run ranked at all. So it's unfortunately been a point where I don't really log into Halo Infinite that much unless other people want to play. So looking at this with November 8th to March 7th, they're going to have Forge come out. That's something that obviously we look at and go, okay, this would have made a massive difference if that had been there at launch. But a year later, it is finally showing up, and we've seen some pretty impressive things that people have been able to do, and we know the community can do this stuff because they've been doing it since Halo 3. A lot of modes that became popular in that game and subsequent titles were created by the community. So once this Forge beta goes live, provided it doesn't just immediately break the game, which, it looks pretty involved. It could. It's beta. It's sort of expected to until they iron things out. A lot of older maps, for example, are probably going to be remade like in that first week. The Pit, Guardian, Midship, Zanzibar. You go down, like all these different maps that you may remember will probably find their way into the game. And 343 better be ready to set up a playlist that is just user-created content when we get to a position where there's enough of it. And I think there will be, since we already see stuff popping up online. Campaign Network Co-op and Mission Replay. So Campaign Network Co-op, you see the wording there. Network Co-op. The big thing that they were really promising and pushing early on was split screen co-op, and unfortunately, they've canceled that. It's not going to be in the game. That is incredibly unfortunate. Now, some people look at that and say, "Hey, you know what? I don't have anyone I'd play split screen co-op with anyway." But you have to remember, Halo 5 got crushed for not having split screen, because that was a core staple of the Halo franchise. Going all the way back to the original Halo, you would have that option at least to somebody maybe stops by, picks up a controller, you can go into split screen and start playing through parts of the campaign. You can also go online. It was impressive stuff back then on the original Xbox to be able to go through the campaign with a split screen mode. They're not doing it here. And I mean, we're trying to make sense of this because like they were really, really like talking it up. Like they're gonna do this. It's gonna be this big departure from Halo 5. We missed the mark there. We're bringing it back here. The engine or the fact that they decided this was a cross-gen game, and that did kind of pop in my mind, is that original VCR Xbox One a problem when it comes to split-screen co-op? Because remember, it is open world. That's not necessarily something you see at all or very often, that you have a split-screen co-op open world game. It's just not done very much. But the thing with the Halo franchise, again, going all the way back to that original Halo, is Bungie was able to set the bar for games like this. They did. So in this case, with the Halo name, I would expect 343 Microsoft to at least attempt to set the bar for an open world split-screen co-op game. And unfortunately, they are retreating from that and passing on it. It's worse because they made the promises, and now they're like, yeah, it's not happening, after they were working to sell copies and Game Pass and all that stuff. They are going to have a 30-tier battle pass that's going to be free. Okay, great. I mean, sure. I'm looking for something else to put this experience that I'm getting, these challenges I'm doing, other than they do an event. And the event that they did somewhat recently was Lone Wolf. And it's like, cool, I'll get everyone together and we'll go through these events. And it's like, well, hold on. That's Lone Wolf. That means you play by yourself. And it's like, what? All right. So that was, again, strange stuff the way that they've organized this. New maps, Detachment and Argyle. Argyle is interesting because it reminds me of Epitaph. I don't know if that, I mean, I just have an image here of it from Halo 3. Detachment is one. These images for like these two don't really, I think, give me a good idea as to what the maps exactly are. Some people were mentioning that in that interview they talked a little bit more about these, so maybe I'll check that out when I get some time. Match experience beta, which, yeah, I mean, it needs that sense. You might go through a match, and let's say you don't do any of your challenges, but you go 15-5. That's really good. You'd be like, all right, cool. I got this big score, and you get 100 experience. And it's like, but then the person at the bottom of the list that I had to carry that match that went like 3-15 also got 100 experience. So it doesn't like really add up. And there are times where I'll get into a match. It's social, right? Gameplay. You're going through it. And immediately in the top right, I see the chat bar, and it's like AFK for experience. And I'm like, all right, so it's basically 3-on-4 until this person inevitably gets replaced by a 343 bot, in which case it'll just run into gunfire and die over and over again until somebody replaces it. So I would like to see something introduced here to where how you do in the match reflects the amount of experience you get at the end of the match. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it seemed obvious for a lot of us, but there you go. New game mode, Convert One Flag. They're going to have a December event, Winter Contingency 2. I think last time they did like an event that played into the idea of like the holiday season with Christmas, where you had like candy cane and like these very Christmassy themed like armors and stuff like that. Then they have January event for Joint Fire and quality of life improvements. Always welcome there. Finally, move into Season 3. That starts March 7th, which feels like an eternity away at this point. That's Echoes Within. They're going to have Arena and Big Team Battle, new maps there. So, okay, cool. A new weapon, M392 Bandit. They also have new equipment, a Shroud screen, which that looks kind of cool. I guess you can kind of disappear into it. 100-tier Battle Pass. We'll see how the equipment looks in there. I really wasn't feeling the equipment that we had in this most recent one, where at the end you have like skulls and stuff on your shoulders. I don't know. Just the style of it. Didn't really care too much for it. Custom game browser, which is good. New narrative event, and that's interesting because I assume that would then play into campaign, or would that just be like a narrative event for multiplayer where they have the full cutscenes and all of this in-game reporting? Which that's incredible that it's going to March 7th before we have in-game reporting. I assume for like cheaters or people who are abusive in chat or all these different things, right? Where they're not making the experience enjoyable. You feel like you'd want to try to weed those people out quickly, but again, March 7th. VIP and Escalation, new game modes there. I like that. VIP should be kind of like Hold the Briefcase, if I remember right, where one person on your team is basically someone you want to protect, and then you want to also find the other team's VIP. That was actually a fun game type, so that's cool. New Fracture event. and they're going to have Forge beta updates and more quality of life improvements. So the obvious thing here is it's still quite a wait until Season 3, which was supposed to be in November, but they've had to delay it 4 months into March. And that seems to be the running theme for 343, is they just can't seem to hit any of their dates at all. And it's a live service game, so they need to get content in sooner rather than later. It just always happens to be later with 343. The thing I will say with 343 is that's the thing that gets me, is they figured out finally how to make a game that feels like Halo. It wasn't Halo 4, it wasn't Halo 5, it's Halo Infinite, with the gameplay, the shooting, movement, all this feels like old school Halo brought up into current times, 2020, 2021, all this, right? But then they're tasked with doing a live service experience, and they're just not very good at it. So I don't know if you need another studio to come in to help them, which the thing with this is Microsoft is, after this Activision Blizzard deal goes through, 343 is not going to be the most talented studio with Microsoft when it comes to creating shooters. All these Call of Duty developers are going to come in who know how to create a first-person shooter that is also a live service game. As much as people, will bash on Call of Duty and all of this, I mean, every year it comes out, every year they play into the live service stuff, and they consistently add content to it. We'll do weird crossovers, all these different things, and they're also holding up Warzone alongside of that. So, yeah, what 343 is doing here probably looks like child's play to them, and they're going to become part of Microsoft. So if I'm 343, I'll admit I'm getting a little nervous here. Because, what's stopping Microsoft from taking Halo and going, hey, you know what? You guys gave it a great shot here. Okay, we're 5 years in now, years down the line. We're going to see what Infinity Ward can do with this. We're going to see what Sledgehammer can do with this, and so on, right? That's kind of where I am, which, by the way, the teenage me would have been like, that's unthinkable. The Call of Duty developers would try to make Halo, but, I mean, why not? What's going to happen? It's going to get worse. I don't know. It's hard to believe that. Now, we also know that Certain Affinity is working on some sort of mode that's fairly large in scale. Most people believe it is a battle royale mode of some kind for Halo Infinite, and I guess next year that'll come out, and that could also just add into more content, more avenues of playing Halo Infinite. But it's just been such a rough time for this game. It probably should have released this holiday. If you look back on the last year of content, and then you take all that and just kind of jam it into this 1 month release, right? Throughout November, December, then into January, that actually would have been a lot of content. It would have been stored up, and then we would have gone into 2023 with Echoes Within as their first major season release. That probably would have been a better way to go about it. It just makes me really go back to wondering, what would this game have been like if it launched next to the Series X like it was supposed to in 2020? Because this is where we are after it was delayed a year. So, that'd have been something to see. But let me know what you guys think about this down below with this roadmap. Just wanted to go through it and talk about some of the frustrations that I'm sure many Halo fans like myself are seeing here with 343. I think eventually Halo Infinite will come around. You assume 343 will find their way at some point, especially since I kind of think Joseph Staten is taking over control more and more of the last several months, and now going into 2023, I have a feeling he has full control. He's steering the ship, and I mean, maybe that will be for the better going forward. Like I said, can't really be any worse than this. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.